tell us a little bit about your background, how you got to Framingham and how you became involved as an educator in the first place.
Right. So I actually wasn't an educator right out of high school. I went from high school, got a job, kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I worked full time while putting myself through undergraduate, and then when it came time to kind of make a move, I decided that I want to go get my master's in teaching. So I went back to school, and I really fell in love with teaching, and I had a real draw to working with emergent bilinguals, also known as English language learners. So I wrote my first master's in teaching. I've gone subsequent masters in English as a second language and curriculum and instruction, and I just really love working with the group of students who are learning English as a second or third or fourth language. What drew me to Framingham, actually my husband is born and raised in Framingham, so I came here for him. He worked as a firefighter in town, and so we kind of started our lives here. Framingham also has an incredible multilingual department. So a couple of our schools have dual language programs where students who speak Spanish or Portuguese learn English, and then we have English students who are learning Spanish and Portuguese. So it's just a really wonderful multilingual school district to be working in.
And you mentioned you didn't really start in education.
No, I did not.
What inspired you to pivot into that course, and what motivates you to continue down that road to this day?
I love working with students. My undergraduate was a psychology major, and so it was either kind of go into clinical psychology and work with students, or I thought I would give my hand at, teaching. So I tried teaching. I really, really enjoyed myself learning growing up. I had some challenges. Some things were easy, some things were hard, but what really drove me to ESL was my grandmother is Italian, and when she was here in the 50s, she kind of refused to speak Italian because she had that mindset to, we're in America, we need to speak English. So I feel like a part of me and my mother is kind of lost out on our heritage in learning our language because there was not really a push to kind of retain that. And so it was really important to me to make sure that I work with students who are learning English, but that wanting to make sure that they retain their own cultural and linguistic heritage as well.
And there are plenty of students who could relate to that in Framingham today.
Yes, there are so many students that could relate, and the former head of the bilingual department, Jen Gretschy, she had a similar story. She came here when she was 16, and she was one of those students who they put to the back of the class, and she went through Framingham schools, and she was a leader in Framingham and really built up the multilingual department within Framingham, and she's just a wonderful person to ever have worked under, and she's really passionate about it. So her passion kind of came, and I just took a lot of my passion from her. So it's been very exciting.
Yeah. Now go through a day in the life of your profession. What does a typical day on the job look like for you?
Right. So for me, we have educators. I'm at an elementary school, so we have educators all around Framingham that do a little bit different things. I work at an elementary school, so we have those fun little kids from kindergarten up to 5th grade. Our typical day really starts with greeting the students. It's something that's really important to us as a school and as a district to make sure that all of our students feel welcome. So during the day, we make sure that our students are, we welcome them, we give them breakfast, we start building that community with them. And then we, start teaching them so everybody is learning English, everybody is learning phonics and math and science and social studies, and also, other sides. So we have music and art and phys ed and library media, so that we're not just sticking to your typical content areas like math and reading, but we are hopefully building the whole child and really getting them to find a passion for what they love and build on that. And it's really my job. I work with a lot of teachers to help support them with our emergent bilinguals, our ESL learners. So I am so fortunate to be able to work with every student and every person in the building. And I get to see everybody from kindergarten through 5th grade. So it's amazing to see. I look at our 5th graders now, and I remember from when they were back in kindergarten and the amount of progress and growth that they've made and the individuals that they've become. It's just really exciting.
Now, what's one part of your job that people may not think about instantly or right off the bat that you would want members of the community to know about?
I think that sometimes we kind of forget that we have little kids, and so we have all these expectations of little kids, but sometimes they're just still little kids. Even, my fifth graders, they look so grown up, but they're still only 10. And as teachers, we're trying to make sure we're not only teaching them, the things that you can learn in the books, but the things that you don't always learn in the books. How to be friends, how to make friends, how to forgive, how to, ask somebody to play with them. So all of these really kind of life-building skills that there's no curriculum for is something that we do really without thinking, and really kind of, it's just integrated in all parts of our day. And I think that it's really important, and one of the things that we talk about as a community is that we're all kind of in this together. So as a teacher, we're here to help the students, and I think it's really, it's kind of a challenge to make sure that we're not only getting them to learn, but getting them to kind of give themselves grace and other people grace when it comes to, like, I'm not quite sure how to ask my friends, to play, or I don't want to hurt their feelings, but I didn't like when they did that. And so all of those things that, that you want to kind of teach your children at home, we try and continue that in school as well.
Now, looking back over the years, whether it was your time as a kid, as a student, or going through higher education programs, or your time as a professional, during that time, I'm curious, what's one thing that you've learned from a teacher, from an educator, that you try to implement in your own professional career, that you try to implement now when you're working?
I think the biggest thing really is that always having a door open for learning. I've had teachers who were just, whether you were in the classroom for 5 minutes, in the classroom for 5 hours, saw them, they were, anytime you walked in that door and were willing to learn, they were there and willing to teach you. So anytime a student comes and has a question, it's really important to kind of be open to trying to figure out how to get them the answer, or how to get them to get the answer. So I just think really being open to having any student anytime come in, and just being able to build that relationship with you. So I think relationships are really the center of anything that a teacher does.
And if you had any advice to any aspiring educator who might be watching this or thinking about getting into the field, maybe making a pivot into the educational sphere down the line, what advice would you give them?
The best advice I think I could give somebody who might want to come into education is to really focus on, the positives. It's really, sometimes you can get bogged down and all the things that are out of your control. So just really focus on kind of your circle of control, and making sure that you know what's best for your students, making sure that you're an advocate for your students. So really you need to have like a strong voice, because you are there to help support your students. So making sure that you are putting your kind of earmuffs on to all the other noise that's happening, and just really focusing on your students.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you want to add while we still have you here?
I just think, want to give a shout out to the staff and the administration, especially at Dunning where I work, because they are all completely professionals. I know it's Teacher Appreciation Week, but as an educator, I appreciate everybody that I work with like all year long, and the students as well.
Jaimie, again, thank you very much for taking time out of your day. We really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.